I'm calling very simply for a shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. And here's a key: until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. If a person is a Muslim and goes overseas and comes back, they can come back. They're a citizen. That's different. But we have to figure things out. We have problems in this country. We have people that want to blow up our buildings, our cities, and we have to figure out what's going on. Something is happening that's not good.
You're still not telling me.
I will tell you, this proposal has been met by intelligent people with great popularity. Now, George, let me just finish off by saying it is a period of time. It's until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
There you have it. Donald Trump refusing to budge. The Republican frontrunner sparking outrage by calling for a ban on Muslim travel into the United States. Today, he's defending that plan, saying that it may not be politically correct, but he doesn't care. Now, Republicans and Democrats alike have been piling on. Fellow 2016 presidential candidate Carly Fiorina joins us this morning from the campaign trail. She is in Iowa. Carly, good morning. Good to have you here this morning.
Good morning, Martha. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. So this is obviously the controversy of the moment. Weigh in. What do you think?
Well, you know, what I've said is that I think his overreaction is as dangerous as Barack Obama's underreaction. And here's what the two of their proposals have in common. We all get frustrated when Obama recognizes that the government is incompetent, and so he then tramples on our constitutional rights by talking about taking away our Second Amendment rights. Donald Trump is saying the government is incompetent, and therefore let's trample on the Constitution by holding a religious test, which is most definitely a violation of our Constitution. What I say is, let us make our government competent. And unfortunately, Donald Trump doesn't know how to do that. Barack Obama doesn't know how to do that. But I do. Here's another thing, Martha. The media plays into this every time. Donald Trump says something, and that's all we talk about. What we ought to be talking about is a very sensible proposal that Tom Cotton made yesterday to give the investigators access to all the NSA data they need. We ought to be talking about a very sensible proposal that Mike Maccallum made yesterday to fix this problem. I'm not an establishment candidate. I'm a conservative outsider. And we have settled for an incompetent government for too long. Yes, let's make it competent. Let's protect the homeland. But let's not violate the Constitution in the process.
I mean, I think you're tapping into something that's very real. And I think it has to do, the reason that people are gravitating perhaps to these two, sort of opposite sides is that they are scared and that they don't feel like the government is competent enough to answer, to take care of them, to protect the borders, to keep people safe, to do what needs to be done, to be reasonable, to be practical about how to take this on. Part of what sparked...
And they're right. They're right.
Yeah, I don't think there's any disagreement on that. Let's listen to a little bit of what President Obama said the other night, because I know that you had a strong reaction to his speech as well. Let's watch this.
Muslim Americans are our friends and our neighbors, our co-workers, our sports heroes. And yes, they are our men and women in uniform who are willing to die in defense of our country. We have to remember that.
We have to remember that, he said. And some people saw that as a bit scolding to the American people. What do you think?
It is. Of course it is. I think it is scolding. I think Barack Obama is lecturing us, as usual, instead of providing us with leadership and strength, something he's clearly incapable of doing. That speech last night, I tweeted, it's vintage Obama. No strategy, no leadership, politics as usual. We don't need lectured by him. What we need is competence. And I really think that is what is at stake in this election. I am running because I believe I have the skills and the experience necessary to deliver to the American people a government that works for them, instead of a government that is crushing them and letting them down. But what we need to remember, especially as conservatives, our Constitution is the document we need to make this government competent. Our Constitution says this was intended to be a citizen government. Our political class has let us down. 80% of the American people think the professional political class cares more about their ambition, power, and privilege. 75% of the American people know the government is incompetent. Let me just say one other thing, Martha. Donald Trump is Hillary Clinton's Christmas gift wrapped up under a tree. Because if he were to be our nominee, and I do not think he will be, Hillary Clinton will wipe the floor with him. And we will lose the Senate. We may well lose the House. I am the lump of coal in her stocking. I can beat Hillary Clinton, and I can turn this government into something competent that serves its people and protects its nation. And that is what is at stake right now. We have to take our country back.
I mean, I think people are listening more closely than ever after what happened in California in particular in terms of the issues of how things are run in this country and the safety that they are obviously very concerned at a gut level right now. You talk about the fact that you believe that Donald Trump can't win. There is increasing discussion among the political pundits at this point about a brokered convention, that he will not give in, that he will go all the way, and that there are many who do not want to see that happen. Here's Laura Ingraham this morning on Fox and Friends. Watch this.
And we could very well see, because of this, and they're despising what he stands for and nationalism and so forth, this could ultimately lead to a crisis at the convention, where the Republican Party basically rips itself apart to prevent him from becoming the nominee.
Is she right?
Well, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Laura Ingraham. Certainly, that's one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton considers Donald Trump the gift-wrapped present under the tree. I'm not a member of the establishment. I'm a conservative outsider. And I am running for president because I think it is time we take our country back. And that means we cannot hand the presidency to a career politician again, but we also cannot hand our presidency to incompetent people who talk tough but who won't deliver because they can't deliver. Donald Trump says, for example, you don't want to know my strategy to defeat ISIS. That's because he doesn't know how to defeat ISIS. I do. I have been extremely specific about what we have to do here at home and abroad to defeat ISIS. We must deny them territory. We must build up a coalition of Sunni Arabs who will help us fight. We must take advantage of every capability we have in this country to track down would-be terrorists. By the way, we are not engaging the private sector at all. I come from the technology industry. We need to engage the private sector because technology has moved on a long way, 14 years to be precise, from the Patriot Act, 4 years from Obama's cyber strategy. We can fix this, but we're not going to fix it by fear-mongering and rabble-rousing.
You and I spoke about it back in Cleveland. We need to get Google and Apple on the same page of that, and hopefully you can go do something that will lead to that result. Thank you very much, Carly Fiorina. Always good to have you with us.
Thanks, Martha.